Thank you, Siddhi. Siddhi and I are giving little signals back and forth to one another. I feel so silly this morning. I don't know why, but we're going to talk about something not so silly, but kind of fun today. I want to chat today about commitment, bodhicitta, and bodhisattva. So for me, Buddhism offers a tremendous insight into the integration of my humanness and my soul journey. This is why I personally use many Buddhist teachings to give context and meaning to my life. I find that there is a practicality to Buddhism that allows me the spaciousness to have my own sort of personal way into the world, but also be interacting with a very deep and profound set of teachings. So in this, today I want to talk a little bit about how it is we are bodhisattvas and how we use our bodhicitta to develop that nature for ourselves. So we all have the potential to awaken and help others in meaningful ways. You do this every day. Every one of you reaches out, responds to, engages with those situations and individuals who have need. And therefore, we can triangulate this and understand that we also have the potential to awaken and help ourselves. We can help others, but how often we don't actually extend that same support and assistance to ourselves. So in the Buddhist tradition, we look at this path of serving others through the lens of the Bodhisattva warrior. And we are all warriors. Women on this call, we are warriors. We've stepped up into a path, each of us our own unique path, but a path that inspires us and enables us to be warriors in our life, whether it's in serving ourselves or serving our community or serving your best friend. This is how we are in our lives. We are warriors, warrioresses. In the Buddhist tradition, when they look through it as a bodhisattva warrior, they talk about names like Kuan Yin. These are names that are embodiments, goddesses that are, and gods, goddesses are particularly interesting to me, who are embodiments of ancient teachings about enlightened beings that were on this path, and that they would come back when the time calls for it. These enlightened beings will have a new iteration. Someone will come in as an avatar to help serve in this time. The Dalai Lama would be a current example of a bodhisattva, but you'll see bodhisattvas all around you. You probably are, everyone on this call probably is a bodhisattva. And you will see these people around you that don't have to be luminaries. They don't have to be names that are in the press or that have written books about how to be a bodhisattva. They just quietly go through their lives offering what needs to be offered and what needs to be held in the moment. So this is an important thing for us to recognize, because though it is something that we aim for and we work towards, there is no notoriety that has to be accomplished or achieved in order for us to extend our bodhisattva warrior offering into the world. So a bodhisattva is one who vows. This is about taking a personal vow to ourselves and to a higher source, that we are striving for this personal awakening so that we can help others in their endeavor towards that end. And this aim comes from an attitude of commitment and compassion. It's through this commitment and compassion that we're able to embody the path of the bodhisattva. There is a commitment to stay on the course of compassion and to stay on the course of personal awakening, so that we can illustrate that and we can be models for those in the world who need that help in this age and in this time. So the bodhisattva vow or warrior vow that we take challenges us to dive into the not so cozy waters and swim out of our comfort zone. This is why the bodhisattva teachings are so important. This is why we want to be in the bodhisattva warrior world of offering, because we want to dive out beyond the cozy waters. We want to go out of our comfort zone. We talk about this all the time, that we naturally, our brain naturally wants to set up a paradigm that it understands, it knows the limitations, and we stay happily within that. No, we want to step over that line every day, constantly. And one of the ways that we get called to do that is when we answer the call of others. Because inevitably, what pain or what challenge they're going through, while it may overlap with some of our own personal experiences, it also may be completely new to us. And we're called to step into those deep waters and to move consciously into the pain, someone else's pain, and the pain of the world. We have responsibility as we're being called into this Bodhisattva warrior essence, beingness, to step into the bigger picture of what is happening in this world. So we develop our spiritual journey towards this Bodhisattva attitude and behavior. We do it through a practice that is called Bodhichitta. So Bodhisattva is the person, this is who has embodied the teachings and the energy and the responsiveness to Bodhichitta. So Bodhichitta is something, a longing that's inside of us. So you will know that you're in bodhicitta when you can't help but help someone else. You can't help but answer the call because it's a longing that you want to awaken all of your senses and you want to assist others. But when you have embodied the bodhicitta, you become a bodhisattva. So we're really working here to be in this state of receiving and nurturing and launching our bodhicitta responses into the world. So our attitude has to be one of bodhicitta so that we can be the personage of bodhisattva. So the invaluable and important aspect of bodhicitta is that it counteracts our resistance to change. It counteracts our resistance to change. So much of our human struggling comes from the innate wish for consistency, control, predictability. And all of these are in tension with one another because life is not about consistency, control, or predictability. It's everything but. So this aspect of bodhicitta says that you meet what's shown up, and it is going to absolutely be inconsistent, out of control, and not predictable. And yet you step into it because you're having this longing that you can't not. I always love it when people say, well, we have free will. Absolutely, we have free will. What a beautiful thing to be in the human form and have free will. But if you're following your spiritual journey, there isn't really free will. There might be a few little choices within it, but you know when the call and the longing, I would even say this to Siddhi, when Siddhi knew that there was a call and a longing to live in this more saintly way of traveling the world and being untethered from possessions and location, that it was a longing and a desire that came through her. I don't mean to speak for you, Siddhi, but I've heard you speak to this, that came through her in a way that it could not be ignored. Sure, you have free will. You could say, no, I don't want to do that. Why do I want to leave my nice, cozy house? We always can say no to something. But when the longing and the desire is deep enough as part of our spiritual journey, we go, I can't not do it. I have to do it. So when that happens, we understand that we're able to answer calls that don't even seem like they're likely for us. We're able to step out of the predictability of our life because we have the strength to do so. And though we could choose something else, there is no other right choice. The choice to meet our longing and our desire and our response to the world is one we cannot avoid. At some point in your life, you say, I can't avoid that any longer. I have to step up to it. And sure, I can turn my back whenever I want, but I have to step up. So we have to step into the human struggling, the inconsistencies, the lack of control, the predictability, which is so small. And we have to meet that in the place where it's arising. We have to go beyond our biases, our prejudices, our fixed opinions. So we've come at this from many different directions over the weeks. I'm bringing up the same ideas over and over because the way in, the way that each of us find our way in is different. But we want to find our way in to where we stop having these fixed notions of how life has to be, because the answers for almost everything that we want an answer for is outside of what we understand right now. But when we stop the construct that's keeping us from understanding the larger possibility, then the aha moments come. As Sheila would say, the glimmers come. Those moments of you knowing, oh, there's a completely different possibility here that I had never imagined. Those things happen, they bubble up. But it's not until we drop all of this history that we have that we bring into the present moment. This is our harkening back to the idea of presence. Until we're able to stay present in this moment without bringing the judgments and the biases from the moment before, which might have been 25 years ago that we've brought with us, until we can step into this moment without that, there's no possibility for us to be fully present and to allow ourselves to move into the unpredictable space that holds possibility outside of our knowing. This is the place we want to live our lives, in the place of possibility outside of our knowing, because that's where all the juiciness is. If your knowingness and where you are right now is so juicy, you wouldn't need to be here. You would already be in juiciness 24/7. But we want to be in more juiciness. We want to be outside. There's an edginess. This is why people do those extreme sports where they go up the mountain in those little, mountain bikes or whatever, or they climb Mount Everest, or they do the things that are just outside of what seems maybe possible. That's a little bit on the edge, because when you get onto the edge, there's a heightening of experience that just takes over. And then you're experiencing that possibility that was beyond what you imagined you could endure emotionally, physically, spiritually. We want to step outside. And this is what taking the path of the Bodhisattva, using our Bodhichitta to allow us to go into that longing into a deeper way, so that we're really offering that which is outside of what we understand we can offer into the world. And we stop having so many preferences and so many musts and so many constructs that say, you can't live your life unless it looks like this. And you can't move into your day unless it looks like this. There's this beautiful story. It's called Birdfoot's Grandpa. And it's a Buddhist teaching about a little boy and his grandfather who are driving on this country road in a rainstorm. And the grandfather keeps stopping the car, jumping out and scooping up all these toads that have hopped onto the road and depositing them on the side of the road so he doesn't run over them. And after the umpteenth time, the boy loses his patience and he says to his grandfather, you can't save them all, accept it, get back in, we've got places to go. And the grandfather, knee deep in this wet grass with hands full of toads, smiles at his grandson and says, they have places to go too. And it's an illustration of his commitment to care for what the living sentient being, whatever that was in front of him in that moment, that his time and space and his requirement to get somewhere was superimposed. That was not what was necessary. He imposed over that a more important moment response, which was to handle the other living beings that are there. So what we want to ask ourselves is, am I more like the son or am I more like the grandfather? And how do I move from seeing something going, I can't handle it, it's, we're gonna just run over them, to where I stop, even though it impacts my day and my timing and my situation, even though we stop. Because our vow to ourselves is that we should be present for that which is needed, whether it's a living creature or a human being or whatever it is. Life is life. In the Buddhist tradition, life is life. You don't even kill an ant. You just graciously offer them a way to get out of the house with little breadcrumbs or whatever it takes. So what are we closer to? Are we moving towards the grandson or towards the grandfather? And can we take that knowingness about ourselves and not be critical? And say, in some moments, I'm able to move towards what the grandfather was teaching. And in some moments, I'm impatient and I want to get something done. So I move towards the grandson, and not beat ourselves up about it. Because for us to move into the Bodhisattva role and be called into that, we have to also be curious about ourselves and patient with ourselves. It's not just about, this is spiritual bypass if we just simply go out and say, well, I'm taking care of others, but I'm not taking care of myself. We have to take care of ourselves as well. So there's a balance. When it is said that when we make this commitment to ourselves and humanity and all sentient beings, that we sow a seed deep in our consciousness, deep in our heart, that never goes away. So we're planting a seed. Every time we stop on the side of the road and pick up the toads, we're planting a seed. And that seed begins to flourish in us that says there is no passing by life. Whatever, however life's showing up, there is no passing by it. You stop for it. And that seed allows us to nurture and to jumpstart our capacity for love and compassion and empathy, and for seeing the sameness in all of us, for seeing life as life, not life as one thing is more important than another, or one person is more important than another. Is an ant more or less important than an elephant? When do we stop differentiating between what's more important? Is a person on the side of the street who needs help because they don't have a home, are they more or less important than somebody in the hospital who's dying, or somebody who has money but is very unhealthy and needs some support? Where do we draw the line? Once we open up our hearts to the fullness of it, everyone and everything that has living force inside of it is important, and there's no better or worse. There's no higher or lower. So this seed that we're planting by each of our actions is going to flourish into this garden of our compassion that allows us to step into this all the time. So we want to plant that seed. We want to plant the seed of the longing that we already have, which is our Bodhichitta, so that we can develop into Bodhisattvas and we can wander the world and offer what is needed in the moment. And then this way, we're answering the call through our own free will of how we want to be in the world. And this will look different for everyone. Every one of us is going to articulate this in a different way. But when our commitment and our vow is to do so, when we make a vow to ourselves that that's how you're going to let your day unfold, then you're going to live into your life differently. So I'm going to leave us with so much more to say on this, but I'm going to leave us with an affirmation that is, I am a warrior on behalf of self and others. I am a warrior on behalf of self and others. Step into your warriorhood. Step into your Bodhisattva nature that you have. When it calls for you, don't let the constraints and the fears of life stop you from being that offering into the world that you are naturally, intuitively aligned with.
Thank you, my dear. So we will shake a little bit, but just a little bit. And we will not get up. So I want you to have your arms out to the side, palms facing down, and you just move your arms rapidly as if you're patting the earth. Just move up and down. And your breath can be long, slow, and deep. And then our hands go forward on the level of our heart center. Go as rapidly and as fast as you can to stimulate the lymph. When Nirmala was speaking, I thought it's really about moving with what's coming instead of going against the stream. Bring your hands up. So I will share, after we moved a little bit, in mudra series that I just taught in the cleanse, and I got so reminded how powerful it is. Good. Hands onto your ankle in front, or your knees and thighs. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Just that we get some movement in. So in Sikhism, Narayan is the water. Sat Narayan Vahe Guru. We are going with the flow of the Guru. And the Guru is not outside, the Guru is sitting in the center of our heart. So we would chant the mantra Sat Narayan Vahe Guru Hari Narayan Satanam. Become sitting. And let me explain the mudra. So I think it's good what you said, Nirmala, because we too often have to really throw a lot overboard. Yeah, so we take this first mudra and you really, as if you scoop water over your shoulders, And that's the Sat Narayan. And then you have all your fingertips touch. You move up until you come to your third eye, and here you open the mudra so that just the index fingers and the tip of your thumbs touch. And you reach forward. You actually look through your triangle and you pull in the wisdom, the clarity of seeing. And then the back of your hands touch, and you surrender to that which was being given to you from the unseen. And then you come to prayer. From here you go into the lotus, you open your heart. You bring your right hand and you bring all your fingertips together with the thumb, and you pour the energy and you create a halo around your head, resting your right hand on your left shoulder. Then the left hand goes into this mudra, over to the right, and you rest your hand here. And then you come back to the center of your heart. So it's a beautiful mudra series to go with the flow, throw things overboard, see the unseen, know the unknown, surrender to that, and then pray that you're on your right path, and then you open your heart. Okay, so I do it one more time, and then we do it with music, and if you do it a little off center, it's fine. So first you scoop, then all fingertips touch. You bring this mudra up until you open it. You look through the triangle. And then you can close your eyes, the back of your hands touch, and you just simply give over and surrender to that which you've seen. Come into prayer. Open into the lotus. Bring your left hand out to the side, right hand, all fingertips touch. And go over your head, stimulating your divine plane. Close your left fingers with the thumb. And then come back to your heart center. And from there we scoop again. So the mantra is Sat Narayan Vaheguru Hari Narayan Satanam. Sat Narayan Vaheguru Hari Narayan Satanam. So there's a moment where there's no lyrics, and then you just sit and feel what this mudra series did, because you literally will feel the difference in your divine and in your astral plane. And you can also just do the mudra series and listen to the vibration.
Satnarayana Vaheguru Hari Narayana Satnam. Satnarayana Vaheguru Hari Narayana Satnam. Satnarayana Vaheguru Hari Narayana Satnam. Satnarayana Vaheguru Hari Narayana Satanam. Satnarayan Vaheguru Hari Narayan Satanam. Satnarayan Vaheguru Hari Narayan Satnarayana Vaheguru Hari Narayana Satnam 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 Satnarayan Vaheguru Hari Narayan 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 Satnam Satnarayana Vaheguru Hari Narayana 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 Satnam Satnarayan Vaheguru Hari Narayan 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 Satnam Satnarayana Vaheguru Hari Narayana Satnam Satnarayana Vaheguru Hari Narayana Satnam Satnarayana